We still have some challenges right here in Louisiana. We rank 4th worst in the country for non-emergency use of our emergency rooms. What that means? We could save $350 million and thousands of lives if we provided better access to primary and preventative care. You go at midnight, 3 o'clock in the morning in the ERs, you'll see families who couldn't afford to go see doctors for their children. But it's even worse than that. 75% of the uninsured are in families with jobs. How in the world does that make sense? In this state, if you don't have a job, the state will help you get health care for free. If you get a job, the state won't help you anymore. That makes absolutely no sense. We made some progress this year, 2 steps we took. Number 1, first state in the country to win a federal grant to provide paperless records, electronic technology in our healthcare systems. First state in the country. We got $29 million from the federal government. We're putting up $18 million of our own money. 13 of that will go to rural healthcare providers. Why is that so important? Institute of Medicine says as many as 100,000 Americans die every year due to unnecessary medical errors. 100,000. American Hospital Association says that nurses spend an hour filling out paperwork for every hour they provide care. Mayo Clinic says there are 130,000 pages of rules and regulations in the Medicare program alone. We know we can save lives, save money, save time by using the latest technology. But it's more than that. The second step we made was we actually expanded coverage for thousands of children right here in Louisiana. Now we've got a lot more work to do. We're just starting, but clearly we've got challenges in our healthcare programs. There are other things we can talk about that happened during this session, but I want to move on and tell you a couple of stories before I take some questions. The first story is this. One of my favorite parts about being governor, my favorite parts of this whole job are the great people you get to meet all over this state. I get to meet Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and retirees and veterans and college students and farmers and working families. It's a great, great part of the job. I want to tell you about a great little boy that I got to meet shortly after I was elected your governor. He came to see me at the Capitol. I don't know if you remember the first time he went to Baton Rouge, the first time he went to the Capitol. He was so excited. This little boy, he went and saw the bullet holes where Huey Long had been shot. You read about it in school. You want to go see where it happened. And his parents told him, if you behave, we'll take you to the top floor of the Capitol. You get to see all of Baton Rouge. If you're really good, we'll take you to the basement and get you a soft serve ice cream cone. He was wearing his blue blazer, his khaki pants, a little tie, probably his Sunday best clothes. His face had been scrubbed so clean, probably cleaner than he'd ever been his entire life. I've got 2 little boys. It's amazing. From the parking lot to the church, they find every mud pile. It's amazing. But he had managed to stay clean. The reason he came to my office, his parents wanted me to tell him that this little boy had done nothing wrong. He was getting up every night. He had nightmares. He was crying, getting up in the middle of the night, afraid he had done something wrong. What had happened was there was a monster that had terrorized him at his school and victimized him. He had the courage to come home and tell his parents. They had the man arrested, and it turns out there were many other little boys that had been victims that had never had the courage, never told anybody. And so his parents wanted me to tell him how proud we were of his courage, that he did nothing wrong. And I did that. And we had a great visit. We sat in our office, and I think he was more excited that at the end of the day, he was going to get to go see the LSU baseball team play more than anything. He played baseball at his school, and he had never seen them in real life in person. I don't think he really understood what a governor was, but he knew what baseball was. I think he was also excited that he was missing a day of school to come to the Capitol. He was also excited about that. But after he and his mom left, his father stayed behind. Dad's a big man. Probably one of those guys that doesn't get too emotional, but his dad started crying in my office. He said, "Governor, we brought our boy because he gets up in the middle of the night, worried that maybe he did something wrong." He said, "Governor, I get up in the middle of the night, worrying that maybe we did something wrong." He said, "His mom and I worry that maybe we could have done more. You send your child out to school, you hope they'll be safe. You have no idea what's going to happen to them in this world." I told him the only things I could. I told him 3 things. I said, "Number 1, sir, we'll pray for you and your family. I'm sorry what's happened to you. Number 2, I told him that certainly if there was anything we could do to help him or his boy, we'd be happy to do that as a state. And then finally, number 3, I made a promise to him. I said, sir, I promise you, Louisiana will be the toughest state in the country to protect our little boys and girls so no other family has to go through the nightmare that you're going through right now. I remember last year, I was here in Natchitoches. I was all over the state telling people on the campaign trail that some people get so impressed that you can go online and find out block by block where these monsters live in our neighborhoods. I don't know about you, but that doesn't impress me. I'd rather go online and find out all these monsters live in one place. In Angola, far away from our little boys and girls, far away from our children.